What do you do?
I'm a professor in the university and I study children of immigrants in school.
What drove you into this field?
Basically, it's a bit sad to say, but my father was a teacher, so I guess I followed his lead somehow into education.
What is your greatest source of energy?
People, I guess.
What was your most impressive childhood experience?
Going to school. Well, I think that sort of ended sort of life within the family and going into an environment where kids rule. That was quite impressive.
What is the best advice you've received?
I think in the end to follow your own instincts and to believe that that's the right way to do it, even though people may be advising you differently. So staying true to yourself, basically.
If it's not the same, what is the best advice you can give?
No, I think I give the same sort of advice to my kids too. Both my kids and I are dyslexics. So they have a lot of challenges in their school careers. And so they face a lot of negative comments from teachers, schools about their capabilities. So it's important to believe in your own capabilities and that you do things differently. I think I do things differently than other people because I'm dyslexic. I see the world differently than people who are not dyslexic. So, but that gives a new perspective on the world, and I think that's important. So that sort of unique perspective you have to pursue.
What would you like to achieve in this lifetime?
Well, I think it goes back to people. I think in the end I'm an academic, but I think what I hope for and what I work for is to make people's life more meaningful and so to see what we can do in terms of especially schools and education to have students, pupils really find something meaningful in their education to also succeed in lives, to fulfill their dreams. So there I think I want to make a contribution, small, probably, but still.
What brings us together?
Our differences.
What makes us human?
Well, I think there's also there's similarities. So it always needs to be similarities and differences, because you cannot come together while at the same time erasing the differences. And that's the most problematic part at this moment, I think, in society, that people want to come together and make one big sameness. And that doesn't work. So we have to work from our differences and show people that these differences are inspiring, interesting, and make you a more interesting person if you are open to that. So I think these are connected.
What does home mean to you?
Not so much, actually. That's one thing I found out when I started living abroad. I lived in the United States twice. And actually a week after I was in New York and lived there, I didn't really care about home anymore, my place in Amsterdam. I also found out that actually things that I thought I would be attached to in my home, I didn't really bother. After half a year, I didn't even think what was in my house. So that was surprising to me because I always thought of myself as being very rooted. Yeah, I'm not such a person.
What is the most courageous decision you've made?
Well, that's a personal decision, and I think having children was the most courageous decision I made. I got my son while I still was very young, so I was scared as hell of being a father. But I think that experience was very important for me in the end, because at that age I was still a very open person. I was a very energetic. Our second child came 10 years after. I was another person. I think both experiences were great, but I would not have wanted to miss this experience as a young father too. So in the end, I was courageous enough to do it, but I was really scared.
What is your strongest conviction?
At the moment, my strongest conviction is ownership. Meaning that I don't think any initiative, any organization can function without people in that organization being an owner of what they do. So that also applies to how I work in academia. I work with 15 researchers underneath me, and they all need to be owning their own research, their budgets, their ideas, their planning. So, and I think that's crucial. But it's also true for bigger organizations. I don't believe in hierarchy in that sense. If people are doing something because other people tell them to do so, it in the end will not work. And I think we will move more and more towards a society where that's more the rule. We are leaving society of the last century, where everything was hierarchically organized and where your responsibility sort of stopped, where there's someone higher up that is your boss. So this will be the most important skill we need to learn kids in the future. It's not about the repetition of subjects in school. It's about ownership of your life, developing your own ideas, developing probably your own company. But that's the way forward, to working in a team with other people and take responsibility for working in a team. So I think that's a crucial thing.
What role does spirituality play in your life?
I would say it plays a role so far because I think that you can only do things well if you're in balance. So, and that means that you have a balance between, for instance, being a father for your children, for being a good colleague, for being a good neighbor, or also being balanced with your surrounding. And I think you could call that a spiritual thing. I don't know what other people think about spiritual things, but for me it's not a religion, but it's more philosophy or things that I pick up from people around the world that inspire me.
Who are you?
I think I'm a person that you only start to get to know if you spend more time with me. So I'm sort of introverted person in generally. So I think people will have some ideas of who I am, but you need to spend time with me and work with me to really get to know me.
What's your name? And if you know, what does it mean?
Yeah, my name is Maurice. And in the Netherlands, that would probably refer to a French origin. But my mother was a fan of this famous French singer, Maurice Crul, so that's how I got my name. Also because my name is not very familiar, my family name is also not very familiar in the Netherlands. People often think of me as a French person, which I like because it's interesting. But